Good morning to one and all. Welcome to KGBV online classes. I am Shamshad B working as KGBV Bairadpalli Chittoor district. Now today we are discussion about 7th class. Today our topic is respiration and circulation.
Introduction. The process of breathing in air is called respiration, and that breathing out air is called expiration. The number of times we breathe in and breathe out air in a minute is called the respiration rate. The air we breathe in fills our lungs. The width of the chest changes when air is inspired or exhaled. Take a measuring tape, wrap the tape around the chest and measure the width of his or her chest. Hold the tape tightly and ask your friend to breathe in and out deeply a few seconds. Difference between inhaled and exhaled air. Exhaled air is warmer and has moisture in it. The exhaled air contains carbon dioxide. The air we breathe in does not contain only oxygen. It is a mixture of many gases. Similarly, the air we breathe out is not only carbon dioxide but a mixture of several gases. Breathing in other animals. Fish. Fishes continuously open and close their mouths in water. The flaps on both sides of the head alternately open and close. Below the flaps, there are red-colored gills. These are the respiratory organs of the fish. The water that enters the mouth flows through both the gills, comes out of the flaps. The gills absorb the oxygen that dissolved in the water. This oxygen is carried to different parts of the body. Frog. Frog is able to stay on land, in water and even underground. To breathe on land, it has lungs, while underground, its moist skin takes over the functions of its lungs. In baby frogs or tadpoles, there are special organs like that of fishes called gills. These gills help them to breathe in water by taking in the air dissolved in water. Tadpoles of the frog live only in water, but the frog lives either on land or in water. Cockroach. A cockroach has small openings on the side of its body. On the outer side of the cockroach, in each segment, there are small holes which are connected through respiratory tubes in a network. These holes are called spiracles, which help the cockroaches to breathe. The network of respiratory tubes called tracheae takes air from these spiracles, circulates it throughout the body, collects it back and sends it out through these spiracles. Earthworm. Earthworm breathes throughout its whole body surface. Through the skin, air passes in and out as it is thin and moist with minute holes. Respiration in plants. Stomata on the surface of its leaves and lenticels present on the surface of stem helps in exchange of gases in plants. Let us see the different parts of respiratory system. Human respiratory system opens out with nostrils, which leads its way into the nasal cavity. The inner surface of nasal cavity is lined with mucous
membrane that secretes mucus, due to which the surface is moistened. There are some hairs growing inside the nasal cavity that filter the dust particles from the air. When the air passes through the nasal cavity, its temperature is brought close to the body temperature and also become moistened. From the nasal cavity, the air moves into the pharynx, which is a common passage of digestive and respiratory system. There is a small flap-like valve called epiglottis that controls the movement of air and food in their respective passages. We will learn about epiglottis in the next video. As a part of respiratory system, pharynx leads one of its way into the stiff box called larynx. It contains vocal cords. When the air passes through the vocal cords, they vibrate and produce sounds. Larynx continues with the trachea, which is a strong windpipe containing C-shaped rings to avoid foldings. It further divides into two bronchi. Each bronchus enters into the lungs. The lungs are big sac-like structures which is elastic. And bronchi further divides into bronchioles. Bronchioles lead their way into clusters of air sacs called alveoli in the lungs, which are very, very small and numerous. Gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli. The oxygen is diffused into the blood, whereas the carbon dioxide is diffused out into the air sacs. Now let us aggregate the pathway of air. Air enters into the lungs through the respiratory system. Gaseous exchange takes place in the lungs and the resultant carbon dioxide exits out of the respiratory system in the same track. That is, the air enters through the nostrils, continues with the nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchus, bronchioles, and finally reach the alveoli. In the alveoli, the gaseous exchange takes place and oxygen is diffused into the blood, whereas the carbon dioxide is diffused out into the alveoli. This is how the air enters and passes through the respiratory system in this pathway, whereas the exchanged gas again exits out through the same respiratory pathway.
Kinase. Thrombokinase acts on other substance present in the blood called prothrombin, converting into thrombin. Thrombin acts on another substance called fibrin that is present in dissolved state, converting it into insoluble fibrin. The blood cells entangle in the fibrin fibers, forming the clot. The fibrin fibers are attached to the edges of the wound and pull them together. This straw, yellowish colored fluid portion after formation of the clot is serum. How materials transport with in the plant. There is a vast transport system to continuous supply of essential nutrients and oxygen to perform metabolic activities and to remove.
The system comprises blood, blood vessels and the heart. The heart is the central organ for pumping the blood throughout the body. Heart is made up of strong cardiac muscles. Heart pumps liquid blood, a tissue which transports nutrients, gases, waste, etc. along with it. The right upper atrium receives deoxygenated blood from whole body, which is pumped into right ventricle below, and it sends the blood to lungs for oxygenation via pulmonary artery. After oxygenation, blood travels through pulmonary vein and is received in upper left chamber, that is left atrium, which pumps it into left ventricle below. Then it is pumped into aorta, which is source many arteries which carries oxygenated blood to different parts of body. Arteries get divided into very narrow blood capillaries where exchange of substances takes place. Capillaries forms a web-like network to reach maximum cells. Capillaries join together to form veins. Isn't it a sophisticated system?
In our previous session, we studied about the heart in detail. In today's session, let's learn more about the other components of the circulatory system. The network of tubes that circulate the blood throughout the body are called blood vessels. These blood vessels are of different types. The ones that carry oxygen-rich blood away from the heart are called arteries. The blood vessels that carry carbon dioxide-rich blood from different body parts back to the heart are called veins. The tiny blood vessels that connect the arteries and the veins are called capillaries. If we lay out the blood vessels in a line, they would stretch for nearly 62,000 miles. That's enough to circulate the earth almost 3 times. That's how vast the network is. Let's compare some of their features. Of all the 3 blood vessels, the arteries have the thickest wall. Can you think why is it so? It is to withstand the pressure of the blood pumped by the heart. Veins are thin-walled and capillaries are the thinnest. Talking about the lumen, arteries have a narrow lumen. The vein has a comparatively large or wide lumen and capillaries have an extremely narrow lumen. It is just a single cell wide. We know the veins carry blood towards the heart, and to prevent the backward flow of the blood, they have valves. Valves ensure unidirectional flow of the blood. Arteries and capillaries do not have valves. Arteries are situated deep inside the body, whereas the veins are superficially present. The bluish blood vessel that we see beneath our skin are the veins. Capillaries are situated in the terminals of the artery or a vein. Let's now talk about blood. Blood is a fluid that constantly circulates in our human body, transporting nutrients, different gases to each and every cell of the body. It also carries waste from different parts of the body. But did you know that blood is actually a tissue? A fluid connective tissue. Just like any other tissue, it is made up of different types of cell, but its matrix is fluid. To study the composition of blood, let's carry out a small experiment. We collect some amount of blood from a person in a tube and allow it to stand still for a few hours. We can see that the cells deposit at the bottom and the fluid is there on the top. This yellowish white fluid is called plasma. 55% of the blood is composed of plasma. The remaining 45% is the cellular component, which includes the red blood cells, RBCs or the erythrocytes, the white blood cells or WBCs or the leukocytes and platelets. But what gives blood its red color? To find the answer to this, watch our video on why is blood red in color. The link for the same is added in the description box below. Do watch it. Now, let's find out the functions of each of these components. Plasma is the main component of the blood and contains water, nutrients, ions, protein and waste mixed in it.
The RBCs are responsible for carrying oxygen and carbon dioxide. The RBCs contain a pigment called hemoglobin, which bind with oxygen and carbon dioxide molecules. The WBCs are part of the body's defense system and helps to fight infections and diseases. The platelets helps in the clotting of the blood. Alright friends, that is it for today's session. We have now completed the major components of the circulatory system. But there is another system that runs parallelly in the body and is a part of both circulatory and immune systems. To find out what that
Promotion of healthy lifestyle. We know that a healthy body is the first need for survival all kind of diseases. So healthy lifestyle like physical activity for at least 30 minutes for 5 days a week, increase muscular strength and blood circulation like yoga, more physical activity provides greater healthy benefits. So please, a healthy lifestyle you can applicable to our daily life, our body.
To our later years if we take care of ourselves. It's no surprise that regular physical activity can help maintain a healthy weight, improve moods and sleep habits, and boost overall health. And it's clear that a well-balanced diet full of nutritious foods is critical to good health. But when it comes to understanding which foods are the best choices, much nutrition research has focused on how certain foods or nutrients may have a negative effect on health or even play a role in disease development. More recently, scientists have begun to explore and understand how nutrition may play a role in promoting healthy aging throughout all of life's stages. We are rapidly learning about what foods and nutrients should be emphasized in our diets and how they can enhance our health. Diets full of fruits and veggies, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and lean meats have proven health benefits like lowering blood pressure, improving glucose control and diabetes, weight loss, improving arthritis, and reducing the risk of cancer and cardiovascular events, to name a few. And we are learning more about the specific nutrients that can impact health. For example, plant pigments found in bright orange and red fruits and vegetables may prevent and slow the progression of eye diseases. Calcium helps to keep bones strong. B vitamins play a role in maintaining brain health. And flavonoids from many plants may improve the health of our cardiovascular systems. The bottom line is that you have the power to maintain and improve your health, add vitality to your years, and reduce your risk of disease. And it's never too late to make a change.
Respiratory disorders COVID-19. Pandemic. Pandemics means a disease which infects most of the people in a country or the whole world the same time is called a pandemic. We can prevent any diseases or infection by improving our immunity. Immunity is the inbuilt capacity of the body to fight and overcome the effects of diseases causing germs. This is taken care by the white blood cells in the blood. So, in case of weak immunity, the infection will lead to diseases. Diseases are mainly two types caused by bacteria and viruses. Bacteria are very small and can be seen under a compound microscope. Viruses are so minute that they can be seen only under the electron microscope. Bacteria and diseases differences. Diseases differences. Bacteria diseases can be cured using antibiotics and only few needed vaccines. Example, typhoid, cholera, tuberculosis. Viruses diseases cannot be cured using antibiotics. Vaccine is the only remedy. Example, common cold, polio, HIV, COVID-19, etc. COVID-19 is caused by a virus called SARS-CoV-2. Acute respiratory syndrome. Viruses are dangerous as there is no proper medicine for them. The preventive measures like taking steam inhalation twice a day, drinking hot milk mixed with turmeric, taking meals when hot, taking a nutritive balanced diet, breathing exercise, yoga, gargling with warm water, and taking vitamin C, etc. So, COVID-19 protocol is only sanitize, mask, social distance. So,